Hello, Deep Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now. It's a joy of being a live stream. Come to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Folks, lovely to be here with you as always. Let me get this camera rolling. Sorry for the delay. Hopefully you didn't have to wait too terribly long. Camera is here. And there we go. Roll in. No, the camera's off. No, the camera's not off. Okay, where is this camera? No? Okay, give me 10 seconds. Folks, lovely to be here with you, as always. We're coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Hit me in the chat. Where are you at? What are you grateful for? Looks like we are now live camera-wise. Hit me with that camera. No? You don't like that? All right, well, give me 10 seconds. I got to unplug and replug the camera. One sec, guys. Let's try that. Let's try them apples. Any luck? What the hell? I don't understand. If I do the timer one, no. Huh, okay, well, chill out, guys. For now, just hit me in the chat. Where are you at? What are you grateful for? What am I grateful for? Technology. That's not technology. Let's see. Dave's joining us. Welcome, Dave. Great to be here with you. What am I grateful for here? Good friends and support. Gotta love that. Okay, let's get this camera working. What is up with this camera? It is functioning right now. I can see it is functioning. Is there another app using the camera that's fucking with it? Nope. Close window. What's this? Cam link, okay. I don't understand why it ain't working. Nothing's changed. This is a very common thing. Nothing changes, and yet everything changes. What a world. Let's try to add a camera source. How about that? Okay. Welcome, folks, as you're beginning to trickle in here. Oh, there's some update to the software, but what is that video capture device? Fine. Add source. Let's try a new source. Okay, add source. Device. It worked now? So crazy. I just added the same source as the other one. Okay, now, here I am. Here I am, folks. Lovely to be here with you. Let's switch this around a little bit so it's underneath the other things. And let's, now that we're here, let's try this one. Wow, if for whatever reason the other... Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not working. So, here I am. Let's add the chat back in here. Nice. Now we just have to flip this camera source. Filters. Oh, I can copy the filters from another one. Scratch that. Okay, I'm just going to copy filters. Okay, cool. So folks, we're ready to roll here. We're going to be meditating for 25 whole minutes. And... no, didn't have any effect. Does that affect anything? No. Okay, 1 second then, folks. So, we'll be meditating for 25 minutes, and in that time we're going to... it is Freaky Friday. Let me look at your chats here for 1 second here. Let's do filters, edit filters. I can do all these great... Oh, I can do heat map. How about that? You guys like that? Is that good times? Let's eliminate those filters. So, that's not what I was looking at. Okay, folks, you can do grayscale. Maybe that's extra dramatic for today. A little sad. Sepia. Dramatic. Okay, let's get rid of this. This is a joke now. Now, how do I flip the source? Maybe I literally just do this. Nope. Give me 1 second here, folks. Okay. Properties. Well, that's pretty silly. So for today, we're just going to move the chat over so it's just not on my face. How do I move the chat? There we go. Well, if I'm annoying, I wanted to do it like I usually do. Okay, folks. Okay, let's hit it. Let's hit it. Let's see. We got Dave here from Lithuania. Great to see you, Dave. Hopefully you can jump on after and chit chat. That can be useful and helpful, supportive. Sanel, welcome from Atlanta. Good to see you. Amuse Dave. Grateful for friendship. Aaron says, Indiana, grateful for our power stayed on during the ice storm. Oh my God, ice storm. It's a bummer that you can't share pictures here. I guess you could maybe if it's Discord, if we change this to like a Discord thing, but anyway, I'd like to see pictures. I'm sure you got some. There's an echo. Oh, see, it's funny. Every time we do this, oh, I see. There is an echo. Check. That should do it, right? How's that? Okay, excellent. Oh, it's so funny. Let's remove. Great. Okay, echo should be resolved now. I saw where that was coming from. Okay, there's an echo, there's an echo, there's an echo. Trippy. Okay, good. All right, we're resolved. Let's launch this. Let's launch this party. Oh, that's weird. I removed the audio source and it got rid of my camera. Oh, that's so dumb. Okay. Okay, very, very cool. Wow, very cool. Okay, I think I just undid the entire thing that I just did. Well, okay. Now I know how to fix it, so give me 10 seconds here. Okay, folks, hopefully the audio is correct. Hopefully this is not just a complete debacle for everyone. And there we go, I'm back. Look at that. Great. Boom. Problem solved. Now I know how to do it quickly. Okay. Bay Area, Scott Nesbin, welcome. Grateful to catch the live stream. Well, I'm grateful you're here. Very glad you're here, in fact. Folks, we're going to be meditating here for 25 whole minutes. It is Freaky Friday, so if you have requests, you can hit me up with those requests. I do have an idea, kind of what might be really fun. Okay, Amuse Dave wants to share a picture. Is this, wait, this is not the ice storm. This must be something else. Oh, we have a new follow here from Knackwurst Carl. Welcome, Knackwurst Carl. Great to have you here. First time, and for first time folks, welcome. We have a tradition here. Anyone who can beat me to it can beat me to it, but great to see you here. Very happy you're joining us. Lovely as always. Thank you for joining. First time. Still echo. Oh, I see. Thank you again. I had to recorrect the same thing because I re-added. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we're here. Amuse Dave wanted to show me this picture, but this, I don't think this is the ice storm. I think this is just. All right, camera, figure it out. I don't think the exposure is correct. Oh, the exposure is not automatic, so I would have to turn the brightness down. How's that picture, Dave? So this is what Dave wanted to send me. Beautiful. Outdoors. Beautiful little path. Walk in the woods. Lovely. If folks send me messages on Discord, I can actually put them on the screen like I just did in a very analog way. There we go. Looks good. Sounds good. Glad to hear it, folks. Lovely to be here with you as always. We're going to meditate here. I have an idea what we could do for meditation. It's a little bit of a cool combo of different things. Or if you have suggestions or requests on what we do for meditation, hit me with those. We can actually maybe even do a combo of the combos. Not to be confused with Cambo. which is a venom from a frog, which causes you to purge, which I'm going to be doing a Kambo ceremony later this month. What's the combo? So the combo is how to transition from using this, not this, and whole part into using every one of your sense gates. Forgive me, I'm just taking out the retainer here. Where do I put it where I won't forget it? Somewhere. Okay, right here. Yes, that's the combo. So if that sounds interesting, it's going to be an experiment. I've never done it before. If it'd be fun, hit me right now in the chat, as I might do. This might be the meditation. Hit me right now in the chat if you don't know what the terms "this, not this" or "whole part" specifically, what those terms mean in terms of the meditations that I teach. I can explain them, but if you already know, there's no reason for me to explain them. If not, though, hit me right now, because you're going to be very confused or mildly confused, some combination thereof. All right, let's do the combo. Okay, so, and then the next question for you folks is there anyone who does not know what those two terms are, this, not this, or TNT, and whole part? I won't go through the description if you already know, but if you don't know, I can take a second and describe. So, we're going to be meditating for 25 minutes. As I set up this practice, know that this is your time to tell me if you don't know what those mean. Find a nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the sit. I'd encourage you to sit in stillness. This means allowing the body to allow the knees to be lower than the hips. For some reason today, for some kind awareness in there. That's a good idea. Well, I'll tell you what right now is throw some kind awareness in there anyway. That's one of the amazing things about kind awareness. You can just add it to any practice whatsoever. I'll try to see if I can get it in there, but I just don't want to add too many parts. So right now you can just start processing through kind awareness as you're experiencing this. Okay, folks, let's jump in and we'll get going. Sitting at the edge of whatever cushion or chair you're on so that your hips can tip forward like they're a glass spilling a sip of water. This will raise the tailbone just slightly. This causes the spine to arc beautifully, landing in a kind of soft S curve, the lower part of the spine curving in, the upper part of the spine curving out, creating a balance between the two. And at the top of that is the neck, and the neck stands on top of that. You can find a balance point there and allow the head to rock back and forth until there's a balance point from the tailbone through the crown of the head. This way you don't have to use a lot of muscle power. The muscles themselves can relax, and you're using the skeleton to balance you. So we'll be practicing for 25 minutes here. And in that time, oh, it looks like there's no camera on this one. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to copy this new dumb camera. Copy. Paste. Okay, there we go. So, okay, so find that nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration. And when you're ready, we will begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths. Just feeling the body rise and fall. As we arrive at the meditation, we're arriving with the momentum of all the previous moments. So, whatever mind we're coming to this particular moment with, just recognizing, is the mind very active? Is the mind foggy, sleepy? Often by simply noticing the momentum of the mind in this moment, it can cut through any unconsciousness. But if we need to make an adjustment, just adding wakefulness if we're overly sleepy, adding restfulness if we're overly wakeful. Recognizing that the sensations of the mind coming into this moment are either part of your experience or they're the totality. They're either participating in the whole or their experience is separate from the whole at any point. Neither is better, they're just different ways the mind shapes the world. So notice these shapes as we move through the body. Typically, if we do a body scan, relaxing the brow and relaxing the eyes, relaxing the muscles behind the eyes, will often collapse the world down to these sensations. So as that's occurring, simply noticing this relaxation in this area is simply part of the experience. Or if we find that we're fully pulled into a sensation, that's not a problem. That can be quite useful at times. So as you relax the tongue and let the face go smooth, relax the jaw and let the jaw go slack. As you move through this process, you can use this as a kind of this, not this process, letting this be the center of your world, letting the relaxation of the throat and neck be at the center of your experience in this moment, but allowing awareness to surround. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms. As you relax the hands, letting the hands be part of the whole. This is something we're quite familiar with. If we've done this, not this, with our hands. So if it's been challenging up to this point, just taking a moment here to rebalance. There is precisely this. These sensations of the hands in this moment. And there's everything else. And if we allow the mind to arrange this experience well, it'll function like a funnel, all this other experience. It's that we're pouring into the sensations of the hands. In this way, distraction can't be a problem. It's simply part of the funnel. Relaxing the chest, letting go of any attempt to control the breath, but noticing the natural tightening and relaxing of the upper chest and upper back, as the breath comes and goes. Relaxing the belly and the lower back, the hips, the upper legs, the knees and calves, the ankles, and relaxing the feet. And then relaxing the entire body altogether. Using awareness to let the body be one big collection. All the sense data of the body is one big pool. So I'm going to guide you through a variety of different experiences, and I want you to see if you can notice that experience. And at that moment, know if we're experiencing them as part of a whole, or if in that moment the mind is pulled in, that we're deeply connected with that sensation and we've sort of eliminated, or for a moment disregarded everything else. In other words, noticing at any point is the mind experiencing this through attention or awareness. So staying with the body for a few moments. Deeply merging with these experiences, letting them fill your consciousness. Now shifting to the experience of sound, of hearing. Checking to see if you're listening to sound as one collective category. All sound. And if the mind is pulled to a particular sound, such as the sound of my voice, seeing if it's possible to notice that sound within the larger context of sound or of all sensation. And if not, that's fine, just noticing that the mind has to some degree collapsed down to this singular sensation for a moment. Not a problem. Just the current shape of the mind. So we're looking at the movement of the mind, the way it comes into small shapes and then opens back up to larger, totalizing experiences. In this case with sound. now shifting to the experience of seeing. If we're practicing with the eyes closed, we'll be looking at the darkness of our eyelids. If we're unsure, if we're seeing the darkness of our eyelids, we can squinch the eyes a couple times to notice what we're seeing. If we're practicing with the eyes open, this will be more vivid, but either one is fine. The difference here can be easy to spot. It's the difference between looking at something or looking at seeing. When we look at something, to some degree becomes a thing, an object. Even if that thing is just a blotch floating behind our eyes. There's a way in which looking at it creates a kind of solidity. Turns it into an object. Whereas if we're looking at just the seeing process itself, whatever happens to be in that space is really irrelevant. We're still just observing, seeing. If this seems like a very subtle shift, it is exactly. But this is simply observing parts, or observing part in relationship to whole. If it supports our practice to bring in kind awareness, if it's not overly complicating, just letting that kindness be part of the way we experience awareness. This can sometimes soften the process. If this is adding too many layers, you can let that go. The softness of kind awareness can often show us how little we actually need to do in order to observe our experience. With that, returning once again to the body, looking for any emotion, observing the body sensation, which is emotional in nature. If we're not familiar with this, it can feel somewhat mysterious, but it's any preference, any liking or disliking on a physical, visceral level. In other words, this is a great deal of our experience. And as we observe this, noticing if it's part of a whole, if the mind has collapsed down to just it being a separate sensation, forgetting everything else, not a problem, just the shape of the mind in this moment, or if it's resting in the whole and the object disappears. Of course, at times it's lovely to balance these two, that we can observe the part within the whole, but sometimes we can't, and that's not a problem. If there's part of us that feels like that's a problem, it's probably going to be experienced as some kind of emotion in the body, some apprehension, some guilt or shame, some idea we're doing it wrong, expressed, at least in part, as a body sensation. Once again, now shifting to audio, but including any mental audio, including mental quiet. If we're not familiar with mental audio in the mind, we can just say hello, hello a few times to hear where the mind produces audio. Now noticing visual once more, but being sure to include mental visual. Any sense of location, arrangement, any sense that there's a body extended up below or a space around. Any memory, planning, or fantasy. Any sense of up, down, left, right, front, back. All of this is mental visual activity. Now I'm going to ask you to let go of any particular sense gate and let yourself really look around your experiential world. Of course, still staying in stillness. If the eyes are open, keeping them resting on a single point. But we're just exploring all of our experiences from this perspective. Noticing whole and part when they're in their own little worlds, just the totality, undifferentiated awareness. When we're zoomed into some sort of part and we've temporarily lost track of anything else. or when the two are in relation to each other. And making an effort to go through all these different sense gates, either one by one or just exploring, just bouncing from one to the next. Sound, including mental audio, body, including emotion, seeing, including mental visual activity. In a sense, it's as though we're scanning the entire experiential constellation, whatever this moment is built out of. Notice how much this is like when we let the mind just wander around on its own. Except in this case, there's great clarity. We might even catch the way the mind tends to wander and just follow that. Noticing the way the mind is kneading our experience like it's kneading dough, shaping, collapsing, expanding. Just discovering what of these combinations is present at any given moment. Whole, part, or both. Both meaning the balance between the two. Sometimes we prefer one over the other, but in this case we're just exploring what is. Watching the mind create our reality in this moment. Carve out and shape each particular piece of sense data, perhaps noticing that only when we're noticing, experiencing something does it seem to exist. Then it's gone and we're simply noticing something else. A different constellation, a different shape of the mind. The eyes are closed, allowing the eyes to let a little bit of light in, eventually resting on a single point as they fully open, continuing the practice. Added visual data will seem very solid. But notice the same process continues. That solidity of all that visual data soon breaks under the weight of other sensations, thoughts, emotions. In this way, allowing this particular moment to be the great teacher, to show us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Folks, what was that like? What happened? And what are you like now? Hit me with those digits in the chat. What that was like, what happened, what you're like now. And also crack open a nice cool pack of Discord. You can jump on, share your experience. Oh, I gotta double check. I actually only have few more minutes here because I have a student coming up. So Dave, I know you had a question you wanted to jump on, so feel free to jump on if you can. Yeah, I have somebody coming up in just 15 minutes. So where's Discord? I opened it. There it is. Let's see here. There she is. Excellent. Okay, Dave, you're here. Okay, we're popping you into the chat here. Dave emailed me with a question, so I wanted to answer that. Now, let me just check audio levels.
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I just want to share my experience of the ending meditation. Great. And want to hear your thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to notice my mind more clearly, and when you said at the end, like about this moment is the greatest teacher, and like I noticed that it was my mind producing the images of great teacher and having opinions about it. So yeah, I just observed that, and like nothing had meaning.
Great. Lovely.
Yeah.
Nice. Great work. And I know that you had a larger question, so did you want to ask that, or did you feel satisfied with what I had written?
I think I'm set for now. I might have a question in future. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, and I can synopsize. Right, I can synopsize so that people aren't just totally in the dark. If that's okay, do you mind if I synopsize?
What's that? Sorry.
Like make a synopsis of what we talked about.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So basically, you were talking about this kind of like things feeling more like unstable, kind of like as though you were like, you know, closer to like when you've had hallucinogenic experiences, these kind of things like in your day-to-day life. And you were saying you're also doing a lot of single-pointed concentration. So the way I like to look at it is if you've ever seen like a telephoto lens or like a laser, right? It's from a really long distance and it points on something, but every little movement over here is going to make this thing move quite a bit, right? It's like this is how it ends up, you know, moving, right? So a tiny movement is going to end up feeling very large at the end of the scope for a laser or for like a telephoto lens. So what happens is our life feels very turbulent. It's like, oh my God, everything's so sort of strange and being deconstructed, etc. And so what we tend to want to do is add more sort of kind awareness, add more spaciousness to the process. And it in a sense makes it less of a zoom lens and more of like a wide angle lens where everything's sort of like, oh, it's open and less shaky. And you'll notice if you ever watch a video on the difference between telephoto and zoom lens, like basically it's like as you zoom in, you zoom in, you zoom in, you get to this like little tiny thing, and even if it's on this great tripod, you can still see there's like some shake there. So we're trying to add in that softness in order to have it not be so turbulent necessarily. And we also want to be bringing the practice into our lives, because one of the reasons why it can feel really turbulent, especially in our lives, is we're doing this one thing over here and then our lives feel very like discordant, and they're not really related. So to bring that soft, gentle practice into all of our experiences, and even potentially for a little while until you feel more stable, to reduce on the cushion practice, and just practice while you're walking, practice while you're interacting with the world. That folding the interaction in with the world is going to create more stability and more integration. And, also knowing that that's actually quite normal. It can be very, I've had experiences where I come off really intensive retreats and it's like really, really, really liquidy, and the whole world feels like it's just, congealing and moving, and that's not a problem. That's just how it becomes. Actually, you just get used to that. At some point you realize, oh wait, it was always like this the whole time, I'm just noticing it. So for me, that's sort of low level, what might be called dark night stuff, is that's kind of how I generally deal with it. You're looking at parts that are seeing freedom and like are really excited about freedom, and then parts internally that are like, no, I want stability. I want this to be stable. And so there's a tension between those two. So by opening up to larger awareness, we're stabilizing the experience, making it just softer. So even those parts vibrating, it's not such a big deal. The one other example that I'll give is, if you've ever seen the movie Contact, it's this older movie. It's really good. It still holds up. And there's a scene where how do I say this without spoiling anything? I'll just say this. There's a scene where there is a vessel. They have to make a vessel, a kind of thing that you go inside of. And they decide there's not supposed to be a chair in this vessel, but they decide it's a good idea, you should have a chair. And so they're going through this process, and the person is like on the chair, and it seems like they're going to be like, it's vibrating so intensely that they're going to be like smashed by the chair itself. And eventually they like let go out of the chair, and all of a sudden all the vibration and everything just stops. And they're just like floating there. And there's no longer like a sense of, that all that vibration sort of tearing them apart. So there's a way in which just opening up makes it so there's less vibration, less likely to be sort of torn to pieces. Hopefully that is a helpful bit of data.
Yeah. Thanks for advice.
Yeah, awesome. All right.
Appreciate it.
Keep us posted how it's going.
Okay. Thank you, man.
All right. Talk to you. Okay, any other reports, questions, comments, queries, challenges, or life concerns in the bit of time that we have left? Hit me with whatever you got. P.S. The in-person retreat on the West Coast is looking way more real. Right now, the tentative dates we're talking about looking at are May, what are we talking about? May 5th? Did we say May 5? No, May 6th through the 15th. May 6th through the 15th. That's what we're currently looking at. So clear your calendars, folks. Buy your plane tickets. Don't buy your plane tickets yet. Give me a minute. We're almost confirmed. And then we'll go from there. So folks, any other questions, comments, queries, challenges, or life concerns before we hit the bricks? People typically wait for their thing till the last second and send it in. Here we go. Scott Nesbin. Thank you, Scott. Grateful for Scott Nesbin not doing it right when we transition to the outro. Scott Nesbin says the following. Okay, let's let the computer read this. Wait, what's happening here? Okay, there we go. Scott Nesbin says,
once you mentioned kind awareness, I noticed the struggling and tension in the body and mind.
Mm-hmm.
The soft awareness of that was very relieving. I basically stayed with that because it was the most prominent thing happening. I still feel the tension, but there's spaciousness around it.
Great. I noticed the same thing. You had requested a little bit of kind awareness. So I was like, okay, we can throw that in there. And at that point, I threw it in. I was like, oh my God, I just noticed this big release and noticed all this sort of unconscious, subtle doing. So one of the things that I emphasize around the kind awareness is that we're sort of reducing the doing just to notice this quality that's there. And bringing that in can be incredibly useful and relieving, because it's like, oh, I don't have to do so little. It's just this sort of kind, welcoming nature of awareness itself. So, glad you enjoyed that. Oh, first-time viewer. Oh, my God. Roboraptor 000. Roboraptor. I don't know if you know this, but we have a tradition, especially with people named Roboraptor, that we engage in here. Everyone who's been here for a while knows this tradition, and anyone who doesn't know this tradition, it's just embarrassing, but we wanted to welcome you. Welcome, Roboraptor, Triple O, and great to see you here. Say, Roboraptor says, kind awareness makes me feel stressed because I think about it too hard, I think. Well, I'll tell you what, that is totally possible. I wouldn't think about it too much. There are other guided meditations on our second YouTube channel, which is the second link in this chain here. Is that it? No, third one in this chain is, that's where you can check out guided meditations on it. So specifically, I'll just give you the brief instructions. The first thing you do is find awareness itself. What is awareness? Awareness is the tendency of the mind to be able to know experiences. I know that seems very broad, but it's not understanding. It's the knowing of experiences. So right now, take in the space of the environment you're in as one big chunk of material, right? This whole sense of space. You can even take in the space of the objects around you. You don't have to stop at the walls. There's sort of a cloud of space that the mind can hold. You can't really do that without awareness. There's like the laser of the mind and the lantern of the mind. The lantern is just sort of like this overall experiencing. That's awareness. Then, once you kind of get a little stability there, which the guided meditations will go into this in more detail, then you recognize that this awareness doesn't need me to be any different at all. It doesn't need anything about this moment to be different in any way whatsoever. It's incredibly welcoming. Just anything that enters into this awareness, it's just like that. It doesn't have to be different. And so much of our experience is so, like you said, like I'm worried, like what if it's not working right? What if I'm not doing it right? Or like, am I really, getting this? And so that awareness doesn't do that. Notice right now that space, that sense of space, isn't worried about you doing the meditation right. It's just like, oh, sure, of course. And it's sort of, in a way, where sort of, this is a bit of a metaphor, but in a way, this space is sort of like understanding and saying like, yeah, of course part of you would want to know that. Part of you would need to know that. Part of you would want to be like, I need to get the meditation right? That makes a lot of sense. And this awareness is just sort of welcoming whatever part of you arises. So we're tuning into that quality of the awareness. In this way, this awareness is very kind. Even the worried parts of us, totally welcome, of course. So that's what kind awareness is in my meditation system. Hopefully that is helpful. Hopefully that is useful. And let me know. We're really happy to see you. Glad you've joined us. Also, who else was our first time person? Oh yeah, Knackwurst Carl, welcome. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. And Aaron has a little snippet here. Let's jump it to Aaron from Indiana. What the heck does Aaron say?
Thinking about everything coming in through my sense gates as being made up of units of perception in the same way objects are made up of atoms helps me to see the whole more collectively.
Great. Excellent. Okay, perfect. Lovely as always. That's a really nice, clear quality. And remember, even the concept of atoms, right? Those are just thoughts, right? Those are just little discrete sections of our sense data. Scott Nesbitt says,
Dang, wish I could make the retreat. Right in my area too. I hope you do more retreats on the West Coast.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's, the place is Nevada City, if I'm not incorrect. So hopefully that's not too out of the way. Okay, folks, let me hit this goodbye button because I have to transition to meeting with a student. So folks, right now, listen to this music. Listen to it jam away. And see what the mind is doing. Is it coming down to the size of a small part of your experience? Is it the totality? Is it a combination of the two? Observing that flow from one to the other in this particular moment, and letting this particular moment be the great teacher. Roboraptor says, thank you for the explanation. That helps. I need to practice more. Well, anytime you hear your mind say, I need to, or I should, just remember that's two different parts of you pushing in different directions. One part that's like, I want to do this. And another part that's like, I'm not used to doing this. I'm not familiar with doing this. Both parts are valid. That kind awareness welcomes both of those parts. The part that needs a break wants to play. wants to play a game, wants to hang out with friends, not a problem. And this other part that wants to explore consciousness itself, valuable, transformative consciousness. So enjoy the practice, enjoy life to whatever degree we can, folks. And as always, practice well, take care of each other, have fun, and we'll see you all very